Hello, this is my walkthrough of the new game Museum of Dots. I've never made one of these types of videos before, or any videos for that matter. But I'm, I played this game, realized I was good at it, and also realized that there were no walkthroughs on this game, so I thought, hey, why not? Um, it's a puzzle game. If you are just joining me and you want to learn how to play it, then you can just follow through. The first four dots, the black dots are the easiest to get. The first one's right there. Second one is right here. Third one is atop these green stairs, and the only dot in the entire game that is not on its own floor. Uh, then the fourth dot is, it's not difficult to get. It's basically just a refresher course or a tutorial for the game's mechanics. It's still technically the hardest of all the black dots to get. Um, you just go up these platforms, and there's the fourth black dot. It doesn't even take 10 minutes. It doesn't even take 2 minutes. Then onto the green dots, start with 1A, go into this little room right here, go through any one of the circles, it doesn't matter, go around this giant circle, and there's your first green dot at the back. And you leave. You can go either right or left. I tend to go left. That's just my lucky direction. And it also leads me directly to 1B, so I'm going in alphabetical order. This one's a little bit funny because it looks like it's absolutely white, and this is probably a trick that they use in modern optical illusion museums as well. It's just a white frame with a much larger white giant circle behind it. You go behind the circle, and there is your second green dot. Leave the room. And as you probably notice, the second I enter one of these rooms, I enter first person, but when I leave, I go back to third person. That's just something that the game uses to make it a little more interesting for the player, or maybe they do it just because these spaces are too crammed for anything else. This is the third dot. Uh, you can, there it is right there, but obviously I cannot jump up to get it. I can't even get on this platform. The way to get it is once you get to this room, you just go to this room here with the platforms, and not unlike the fourth black dot, you just have to be familiar with the game's mechanics. If this is your first time playing this game, this might take you a few tries. I know it took me a few tries when I first played this, but now I've played it like 3 times, so I know my way around it. Just go up, and then you land right here. Most of these dots are a sham. They don't lead anywhere except for this one. You just walk through it, and there's your green dot. One thing that I forgot to mention is that the website I am playing this game on uses ads, and because of that, occasionally after I collect a dot, there might be a little thing where the screen goes a bit weird. But that's because an ad just came up, and since none of those ads, and neither does the website for that matter, neither of them sponsor me, I'm not going to show them. I'll just edit them out, and yeah. All right, now on to 1D. The green dot is behind this wall where there's a person right there who probably just collected it and is most likely going to an ad because they're not moving. You just go through this, and then on this green tunnel, best way to do this, look right and then move left, and there it is. And if any of you are very new to this game and are worried about people from the same server stealing the dot, you do not have to worry about that at all. I don't really know why um, there are multiple people in one server at once. It might just be Pelican games and how they work, or it might be something else entirely. I don't know. Oh, right, and that's all the green dots. Whoopsies. All right, so that means we now move on to the orange dots. Technically speaking, I could do the red dots or the blue dots right now because I've collected 8 dots, and the red dots on floor 3 are not restricted at all like the blue dots. But I like to go floor by floor, especially when it correlates well to the little structure up on the left, how many dots you've collected on in the upper left corner. It goes for 2C, you go through here. This one's pretty simple. You just walk through this, and all of these are a sham except for this one right here. Behind this big blue dot, here's where it is in correlation to the rest of the room. Just fall through it, and here you are. Now, sometimes when I'm playing this game, when I first played this game, I thought it was a horror because of all the weird little voids and some of the themes that I often see in other horror games. There is the orange dot, and boom. All right, and that is the first orange dot. It was pretty simple. You go through this dot, then walk through this white platform, and here you are. Leave, that is, I believe that was 2C, and here is 2D. This one is probably the easiest to get out of all of the orange dots. You just go through here, and when you see that space station there, you go through here and see that. That's the ISS, and there's your second orange dot. You get it? It's atop this little pair. I guess that's an escape capsule, if I were to guess. I obviously don't know anything about space or space travel or technology or life in general, but that's what I think it would be if I were to guess. All right, and now for 2A. This one is not very difficult. It's just really, unless you have good vision, it's difficult to spot because of all the dots in this room. But there it is among the wreckage, a dot. Then you go through here. That is the third dot. Now on to the fourth and final orange dot of the second level. This one is probably the weirdest because, as you can see, it's right there and there doesn't seem to be anything getting in my way, but every time I try to get close to it, this little invisible barrier just gets in my way and I just can't get to it. So how you go about it is you follow the black line on the ceiling. You have to follow it pretty thoroughly, or else you'll get lost. Uh, but in general, it's pretty simple. And if you ever get lost, just follow the black line back to where you want to go. Um, and there are some points where there's very minor um, differences, like that little triangle right there, but you still have to follow that nonetheless because that's how the game works. I want to apologize again. An ad just came up, and yeah, I'll do my best to edit it, but again, I'm new to this, so yeah. All right, now on to the red floor. Now that that is all of the dots on the green floor, you don't take fall damage in this game. The big game schematics don't care enough. I'm just going to start with 3D. This one that you just, the only trick with this one is that you have to be really good with the game mechanics. As you can see, there's the red dot right there. You just have to jump from platform to platform. And here's something that I should mention in advance. If you are unable to land on all of the platforms and you fall, then you have to, like for most levels, you would just have to go back to the first dot, or you would be taken through a staircase to, oh, there we go. It just happened to me. Um, so you don't go back to the door. You're not given a path back to the door. You cannot get back up to the door through any normal means. Only thing you can do is go through this vent, which will take you down to the ground floor bathroom, which is pretty annoying. And I should mention ahead of time that there is no special Easter eggs or dots in the bathroom, at least none that I'm aware of. If I'm wrong, then please tell me in the comments. It was the red level, right? Yes. I'm going to go back to 3D because that was the one that I left off on. Uh, Probably should have just gone through that passageway. As I said before, you just have to be familiar with the game schematics. And this is not the only level where you have to go through the vent, where you may have to go through the vents on if you aren't successful. So I'm just going to speed this up because I don't want you guys to have to watch it over and over and over again because it will most likely happen to you. I'm going to speed it up now. The first time I did this level, I cannot tell you how many times I had to start over because I was just so unfamiliar with the game schematics. All right. That is the first red dot. Just go back the way you came. Do not go out through the vent. That's a waste of time. All right, so that was 3D. Now I'm going to do 3A. This one is it is not as consequential, but it requires a lot of it's just a bit of trial and error sometimes, as well as good familiarity with the game schematics. There are four dots, and you just have to land on the one that is the odd one out. In this case, the purple one. Now the blue one, and then you land on the one with the dot in the middle, and not any of the hollow ones. And this one you land on the big hollow yellow one. And on this one, it's kind of tricky because there are two that are odd out. There's one with a hole in, there's a blue one with a hole in the middle, and a green one that is filled. You want to land on the filled green one, and then this one, it's pretty easy. Just land on the one that is not filled. For this one, it's extremely difficult because four of there no no one are the same, no two are the same. Um, so you land on the one that is the most odd out, in this case, the only one that is not hollow, the yellow one. And this one, all the three of them are the same size, they're different colors, so you want to land on the only one that is a different size. I like to go just touch that one and go across fast because the game can be kind of picky about if you landed on it or not. And if you didn't land on it properly, then it can make you fall. So this might be just me, but I like to just jump, touch, and then jump again. And that has never done me wrong before. Good chance it won't do you wrong either. But if you prefer a different method, then you can just tell me that in the comments. All right, now on to 3B. This one's pretty simple. So you want to start by going through the white one, then the blue, just go to the back of the hall, then through the red, the white, and the black, and then here it is at the end of the hall. All right, there's that. So you just go back the way you came for that bit. That one's probably the easiest out of all the red levels. All right, and now on to the last one. This one is also pretty easy. Um, it is the first instance of, of the auto jump mechanic that is put in by the game. Uh, if you're not familiar with the game mechanics, or if the game is glitchy because there's a lot of people on the server, or if you have a bad PC, or any other reasons, um, then it can be a bit glitchy. So just be careful, don't rush it, and you'll get the die. Um, some people recommend that you go from the small, medium, then the big one. It's perfectly. I just go through from the small one to this one. I usually just skip that one entirely because there's no point in using it if the smaller one gets me there just fine. All right, and that's all four of the red ones. Now on to blue, um, which a lot of people would say is the most difficult one. I'm gonna do 4B last because of how long it takes, and it's also pretty difficult. I'll start with 4C. Uh, this is just my opinion, but I think 4C, this level is the easiest out of all of the blue levels. So you just have to recognize the pattern. It's red, green, yellow, red, and that little space there is the one you want to go through. So in this case, red, green. All right, so red, red, blue, blue, green, green, yellow, yellow. And this is the hardest one, but it's still pretty self-explanatory. So it's yellow, red, yellow, yellow, red, yellow. So it goes yellow, red, yellow, yellow, red. And so yellow, red, yellow, yellow, red, yellow, red. And you just follow those dots. And this is another instance where it kind of looks a bit like a horror game because of the apparent emptiness. This is another point where it uses the bounce schematic. And there's a bit of a delay, as you can probably see. It's also a bit glitchy sometimes. Yep, like that. All right, so start on the first platform. And depending on how long this takes me, or if I have to restart, then I'll probably speed this up. And as you can see, there's also a bit of a delay between when you land and when it bounces you. So you just have to time it right and know the controls of the game. And you also have to hope it doesn't glitch, which can very well happen if there are too many people on the server. And you just land on this platform up here, follow the black dots or dark blue dots, however your color palette is. And then you get the blue dot, and there you go. Dot, arguably the easiest one to get, though some may disagree with me. All right, I'm just gonna get it over with and do 4B. This one, it's not necessarily, no, it is difficult, but it also just takes a long time. And like you saw on the red level, if you mess up, then you go down another vent down to the ground floor bathroom. So if that happens, I'm just gonna speed it up till I get back here. So you want to jump from planet to planet. Oh, it just happened. All right, gonna speed it up now. Again, you have to be very familiar with the game controls if you want to do well on this one. So from the from the meteorite to, I guess that's Mercury, to this ring planet that's not Saturn because it's blue. That's not what Saturn looks like. Then to this planet, and then through this black hole, you go to the speed of light to the what's it called, the Keltometeor belt? No, am I thinking of a different one? I don't know my meteor belts. This one's this one, it's not as high stakes because if you fall, you just have to go back to these little ones. I'm gonna try to avoid that, but it's probably going to happen. You just jump from asteroid to asteroid. Oh, and I fell. Yeah, you have to be sure to land on the semi top of those, or else you'll just slide off. And these themselves, they can be kind of tricky to get on top of sometimes. Like I said, you have to have good game control. Some people like to just jump on them, stay there for a sec to calculate the next move, and then jump again. I don't like to do that. I find it best to be quick about it so the game doesn't have any time to correct until you get to this one. Uh, that method that I just used doesn't work as well, I have found. Like just like that. Um, I'm gonna speed this up now. I just want to jump from one to one slower on that second bit, and then into the purple black hole, and through here, out the wormhole, and across the rainbow bridge to Asgard. And then there's the blue dot. Uh, there was actually one time where I was able to do the whole thing without having to restart once, which made me really happy, but I obviously wasn't recording at the time. Uh, so here we are. And now to get to the other two, they're blocked off by that wall and that one over there. So you have to jump across these. These were on uh, the orange and red levels as well, but there was no need to use them because, well, you had access to floors. And why jump when you have floors? All right, this level isn't necessarily difficult. It's just weird. So you you can run, you go to this false sphere, which is just a projection of a sphere on the ground to make it's an optical illusion basically. You just go close to it, and then you see that over there. You run up to that, see if you can align that misleading white platform and the spike, and then you fall through that hole, landing you here. Turn around, and then go to these two black spheres or dots, look at them, then walk left. Nope, that's not right. Oh, nope, there it is. So yeah, you just get behind them, walk left, and then it drops you down this hole. and you walk across this, and then you go, then you bounce on these. This is one of the few levels in the blue section that does not completely reset you if you mess up the first. All right, no, another ad just came up. Sorry about that. You just go through that white dot. You cannot see it anymore, but it was there. You saw it. And then now for the last blue dot of this level. This one is a little bit strange. So uh, you can use these to apparently you can use these to determine which doors to go through in what order, but I'm lazy, so I don't do that. Here's the trick: just go through lots of doors, um, and if you come across any rooms with the doors on the bottom, do not go through those because those are death traps. Technically speaking, your goal. Nope, don't go through there. That's empty. There is a specific room that you're looking for, and it is this one, the one that is white on the left, blue on the front, and then red on the right. And you want to go through the red door, follow the white dots, and then there is your last blue dot. And then here you are, and and that is all 20 of the dots, four of each color. And once you're finished with all that, you go over to the dot lounge. What the? Not, oh God, not this again. It's glitching out. That was weird. Sorry, that happened. Oh my God. Okay, that was super weird, guys. I have no explanation for why that happened, but I think, oh, it just did it again. This is totally going to become a meme. Okay, go over to the dot lounge. You can see your progress right there. Collected everything of everything, and it says here. I was going to read. It says here, access restricted to 20 dots required, and you have 20 dots. So you just walk right through, go to this little circle right there, and there you go. You are now an official Museum of Dots guide. Congratulations, you have just completed Museum of Dots.